it's, hey y'all, glad you're here, chasing relevance. Hey y'all, thanks for being here. Scott Eastman, Dr. Bledsoe. We're going to be talking about dream jobs today. We're going to be talking about the things that we thought when we were kids, what we wanted to grow up to be. We want to talk about the jobs that if we could just go and do anything, like what that would look like. Would it be a professional athlete? Would it be a doctor, a lawyer, a policeman, a fireman? And we're going to talk about those and why. And it's not going to be based on whether or not we really could or not, because
talent, yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about talent here.
Right. Yeah.
We're talking about just dream jobs and what it would be amazing to do for a living.
If we put talent and good looks aside,
yeah,
could we do it?
Right, exactly. So, and then we're gonna kind of wrap it up with some of the jobs, maybe people we've been around, and what we've seen them do or how they did it, and how if we could go back, maybe that would be something we seriously consider because of how it affected us, or
Sure.
just how we watched them do their craft. And we'll kind of wrap it up with that. But yeah, my man Scott, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. It was beautiful out today. Yeah, it was unfortunately had to venture off to the grocery store, but other than that, yeah, it was a gorgeous day. Got a lot of work done. It feels like I got a lot done, even though I didn't leave the house very much.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we did some projects around the house, and then the boys are kind of working on this science kind of project thing. But then we all went out, and the boys were riding their scooters literally through the little paths of melted snow and asphalt. Yep. Those are available. And they were jumping snow mounds with their scooters. But no, we just were out for a while in the sunshine. It felt fantastic.
Are they doing any online school yet?
So technically it has not started until Monday.
Sure. Yeah.
But we're having them
having a
reading time.
Probably.
Yeah, we're having new reading time, and
Absolutely.
we're having them look up some stuff they don't know about, and then tell us about it, kind of thing. So
very cool. Yeah.
So hey, why don't you start us off and tell us when you were a kid, man, or at whatever time that was, that you had some ideas in your head of what you thought you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah, when I was little, there was no question in my mind that I was going to be a truck driver.
Nice.
That's what my dad did, and it's, every summer I would go with him, and so from the age of probably 6 or 7 until I was 12, I guess, probably 12, he was long haul. So we'd go to, we're sitting in Nebraska, and he'd be driving to Detroit and Chicago and Denver, Albuquerque. And so for me as a kid, riding in the 18-wheeler was, that was like the bomb job.
Roll on.
Yeah. It was all of that and then some.
18-wheeler.
Yes. So oddly, about 3 months ago, I heard a song that I hadn't heard since I was probably 12 years old, and it was a song that we listened to in the truck all the time. I think it was probably timely on the radio, and then of course he had a huge collection of cassette tapes. If anybody remembers those.
Oh yeah.
But the song came on I was playing Alexa, and I always play this old classic country because it takes me back to Waylon and Merle and all those guys, and it reminds me of that. Well, this song comes on, and it's called Phantom 309. And it's a crushing song about this basically a ghost driver that picks up this hitchhiker and all this, and it literally brought me to tears. I had to call my dad and go, hey, I know you haven't heard this in probably as long as I have, but go on out to YouTube and look this up and see if it doesn't throw back some memories.
Right.
And so he was like the quintessential Smokey and the Bandit truck driver, He was cowboy boots and blue jeans all year long. He didn't own a pair of shorts. He didn't own any other pair of shoes.
Yeah.
That was it. It was cowboy
Yeah.
boots and blue jeans. It was 100 degrees. That was what he was wearing.
That was it.
And so I tried to model that as much as I could up until I realized that I was not going to be a truck driver.
Yeah.
That was the dream.
That's awesome.
It was just the coolest lifestyle in my mind. Little did I realize, you know, the amount of time he spent away from home and the things that he missed and all that, and the regret he had for that.
Yeah.
And it's a, you know, a grueling job, which it's funny because they're really becoming kind of the bloodline of our supply chain right now with this whole thing going on.
Thank God for truck drivers.
No kidding. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. What about you? What was your?
Well, so I got to tell you this real quick. So my mother's father, my grandpa, he was a truck driver.
Yeah.
And growing up, it would usually be once a summer for sure, maybe twice. But he would show up in a little town we lived in. Also, we get a phone call. He'd be like, "Hey, this is Grandpa. I'm just up the road a couple miles. Why don't you come pick me up?" And nice. And it was the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing to go pick him up and see his truck and then you know what was really cool about him was he always brought me Cracker Jacks.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Like that was his signature thing, man. Hey, you know, got your box of Cracker Jacks.
That's funny.
So whenever I see Cracker Jacks in the aisle at the store or whatever, it automatically takes me to Grandpa when I was a little kid.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how those little things trigger emotional memory?
Oh, totally. Yeah. That and he called me a goat roper because we literally had a goat and I actually roped it. And so I actually, like, that's kind of a joke for cowboys, like, yeah, goat roper.
Right.
I actually was a goat roper.
That's pretty funny.
And he called me that. Term. He called me that before I realized it was a bad thing, right?
Right. I was going to say, we used a different goat term when I was in the military.
Yeah, we won't share that right now.
Yeah, no.
No, man. So, like, when I was a kid, this is no joke. You remember the show, The Fall Guy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Colt Seavers, right?
Yeah.
I might jump an open drawbridge, Tarzan from a vine, right? So I was pretty sure I was going to be a stuntman.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I was pretty sure because I was like really into like how big a ramp can I build? What can I jump over? Like I would literally ask my sister if she would lay down there below my ramp.
Yep.
And I would jump over. She would actually do it sometimes.
We did that too. We did that with my cousins. It was insane.
Yeah. So, and it was like, you know, like we had big haystacks and it was like tumbling off of haystacks and, you know, acting like I was doing some stunt, you know, and climbing the haystack. That doesn't
surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Not one little bit. And you were like, okay, I can't be a stuntman, so maybe I'll go ride bulls.
Right. Yeah. But no, it was, man. It was, I thought for sure that, and as I got a little older, I actually kind of kept having it in the back of my mind. Maybe one day I'd try to figure out how to get there and get to Hollywood. And then, of course, then, you know, you kind of just move on and realize sets in of just like things that are there, what you're doing. But no, that was always there. And I still to this day, I think back and, you know, that would have been a cool run to make. But that was my big dream, I mean, that and literally being a mountain man, like,
right.
Jeremiah Johnson, Grizzly Adams. Do you remember the show Grizzly Adams?
Yes.
Okay, so like those kind of dudes.
He was like my hero.
Yeah, like those kind of dudes were like awesome.
And really, all I really wanted to do was be able to be that close to a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to be friends with a grizzly bear.
I just wanted to be able to grow that amazing beard.
Yeah, right.
And I still can't. I
shaved mine off about 4 years ago. I had one down to like here.
Yeah. Like I see all these, you know, man beard.
That's funny.
Trim your beard commercials, and it just makes me sad because I can't even grow a beard to trim.
Awesome. It's funny because the other day when we were talking about, we were going through our bios and talking about our careers, and you started talking about moving to the ranch with the boys, and you had one on the way, and I instantly thought of the Wilderness Family.
Right.
That's what I had pictured in my head the whole time you were talking about it.
Yeah, great show. I just watched it with my boys. We watched like there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know. There's quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And we watched them all with my boys like this fall and winter. Actually,
that's awesome.
We'll go back and find those old school movies. And like right now we just got Hulu, watching some of the old school like sitcoms.
Yeah.
Urkel. My boys are watching Urkel right now, and they actually are getting a kick out of him.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But no, man. So that was kind of it. What about your dream job? Like since you become an adult, like what is something like if you could do anything that you think would be amazing? Like, and you got to list 2 or 3 of them.
So my first choice, it probably in the last 10 years would have been to basically, I think to be an adventure writer or a travel writer.
Nice.
That would have been hands down the way I would have chosen to make money is to be a travel blogger, I guess now. But and it's stunning to me how many people are actually doing that and making bank.
It's crazy.
Just posting their picture. There's a whole thing called van life, where it's just a whole community of people that basically live in their vans and travel the country, and they have sponsors and they get paid, and it's mind-boggling.
That's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. But now, I guess probably in the last 5 years since I started coaching, if I could be a college softball coach, that'd be the last job I ever had. I absolutely love it. I actually really do enjoy working with the high school kids because I think there's more of an opportunity to lay a foundation there. But I have this appreciation for the level of work ethic and commitment and drive that it takes to get to that college level. And there's I would just love to be a part of that. Love to be a part of that.
No, I can relate on that. I can relate.
It's I can't imagine having a career like Mike Candrea, who's been doing it for 35 years, or what's his name? Tim, I can't think of Florida, or Heather Tarr, or Patty Gasso. I mean, these people have had impacted so many lives, especially with the trickle down, of the player, and then what the player goes on to do and the people that they touch. I can't imagine another job other than being a teacher having that kind of impact on the world.
Yeah.
And there's just something about that athletic mindset that appeals to me. I love that competitive, driven, nobody's going to outwork me mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you? If tomorrow you could wake up and be whatever you want to be? I almost want to guess, but I'm not going to.
You should.
No.
So when I was in college, my senior year, I believe, I had to take some classes, just get some credits, kind of fell in. And I took a class that was called Aesthetics to Video and Film Production. And it was all about studying film, about the camera angles they used and why, and the message and what it translated into the story, and the lighting, the shadows, and then of course the last part, what the actor brought to the scene and how it was delivered and the way they moved and how all these things that we can say without saying anything at all, right?
Right.
And so I started to watch movies in this like whole new light and through a different lens of like I'd be watching a show and all of a sudden I'd be watching it thinking about like what, I thinking about how I would be there behind the camera and what that took to set that up. And I'd be like, oh, wow, look how they shot that angle right there. And look what they did. And look how they panned that. All these things of the production side of it. And then of course I was watching actors. I was really watching actors like do their craft and like how you see these little niches these different actors kind of have and how they deliver things and the different styles of acting, method and all these different deals. And And so I just grew this huge craving for wanting to learn and be around that more. And what happened is that, I got in the event business. I got super busy with life. And then I got married, and then I started having some kids. And then all of a sudden I was kind of just going on to the next chapter of life with the career stuff. But there was a moment when I left the event industry, when I was kind of figuring out what my next move was, where I was like, man, I would really like to get involved with film stuff. But it was wrong time. And I had responsibilities but dream job, it would be in the film industry. Like as we talked about, and I'm not claiming anything of what the end product looked like or how good it was, because it was. I mean, I'm a total amateur.
It was good,
but I got involved with some really cool guys that had some skills on the camera, and was writing and doing some directing, and then I did some acting, because I was like, well, if I want to make stuff, I want to be in it too.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
I was totally taking the Eastwood Costner approach of,
right.
But I love this stuff, man. I love it. It would probably be my number one dream job.
No kidding.
Being in the film side. And here's why. Not only are you trying to tell a story, and you're trying to add meaning and heart and emotion and all these things and tell the story, but you get to be, as the actor, you get to be a lawyer.
Right. Yeah.
You get to be a doctor. You get to be the policeman or the detective or the fireman, or you get to play out all these different roles. And if you want to be good at it and legit, these guys are studying these subjects for a year ahead.
Right.
They're learning how to move, how to actually do things. They're learning the terminology and the things that these people do in these professions. So when they go to portray it, it's believable.
Right.
And I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Without the risk of actually being a cop or a fireman or any kind of danger. It's all behind a camera and in front of the camera, and you get to go home at night for sure.
And it's like you get to experience all this stuff and make this story up, and you're trying to make it believable, and then somebody gets to sit down and watch it and enjoy it. And I know when we did our short film stuff and some of the things we did, when I would be there and we'd be a crowd and we'd be showing it, it was so fun to watch how people reacted to it. Sure.
Yeah, that would be. I could see that.
Yeah, but that's probably like my number one. My number two, since I've been an adult, is I'm a huge I love watching football, and I love learning about the players, who they are on and off the field. I'm really into coaches. I have to like the coach before I can really like the team.
Absolutely.
And now with the way it is I've got to kind of like the players off the field as much to want to root for them. But just being able to go and play a game for a living, like football, and that's just the one I choose, because that's the one I tune into the most. And, but watching these guys, I mean, this is no joke. Before I had kids, and this is why I was working at the bank, there was a neighbor kid. He was like 12 years old, good dude, and he didn't have a dad around, had a super awesome mom. But I would literally come home from work, and either I would show up on his doorstep and be like, hey, I can't remember his name now. That's sad. Devin, I think it was, or someone, I can't remember. Anyway, I'd be like, hey, can Dev come out and play? I mean, I'm like 30,
tossing the football,
32, and I got my football in my hand. I'm like, hey, can you come out and play? He'd show up on my doorstep. Hey, is DR here? Can you come out? And we would go out and throw the football, and it was all about running routes and working on our quarterback skills, but we were just having fun. I was being a kid again, of course.
Yeah, but
football, man.
You were doing something worthwhile for that kid.
Yeah, and it was a ton of fun. But playing football, being a professional athlete, working out and working on that stuff, and being a part of that team dynamic, and throwing the ball, catching the ball, making tackles, all that kind of stuff. I dug football when I was high school, but I wasn't super drawn to it. I was a rodeo guy, and so I was really focused on rodeo. But and to be honest with you, I weighed $100, and I was just I wasn't. But as I got older, I realized how much I craved it, and of course, I would need to gain quite a few lbs and some muscle.
Sure.
But again, we're not talking about real life.
Exactly.
We're talking about the dream job.
Dream job. Yeah, I wish I was 6'6" and 230, solid rip, you know,
Right.
and I ran a 4.40.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, all right. Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny. I remember playing City League flag football in my 20s, and one of my buddies, he was about 10 years older than me. He literally thought he was still like super like cat fast, like he was back in the day, right? And it was so hard to not say, dude, you're kind of slow now, man. But he thought he still had moves, and I'm sure that's how I am now too. I think I have moves, but
That's funny. I'm faster than I look.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
There you go. There you go. Hey, underestimation has always been one of my weapons, right?
Absolutely.
It's like that's always served me well.
Yep, I'm a sleeper.
Right? Yeah, nobody thinks this guy is going to do anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Although we do prefer to be called wiry, just so you know.
Got it. Yeah. I grew up pretty little, actually. I was, even until I was probably 28. I was only about 180.
Yeah.
And then life started happening, and
oh yeah,
desk jobs and all that
right.
kind of stuff. And boy, metabolism drops like a rock.
So what's another dream job? Like if you could just do anything and you think it would be like amazing to live it. I
would have, and it's funny. It's interesting to me because my oldest son, who is he's my stepson, but still I've had him for 20 years. So he's 35 this year, and he's actually doing the job that I wish I would have done straight out of the Army. He's a wildland firefighter.
Nice.
He's on a hot shot crew down in Elko, and if I would have been less worried about what people thought, I probably would have tried to be a smoke jumper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
coming off the military and being you know, parachute qualified and all that kind of thing. It felt that I wish I would have done that.
Yeah. I know some bad dudes and dudettes that have been smoke jumpers. I know one dude that I recently met. He's local. In fact, he trains.
There's quite a few.
He trains all the smoke jumpers. He's a trainer, and he's a stud. A gal that back where we just moved from, she was a smoke jumper. I think her dad trained smoke jumpers back in the day. I mean, they're awesome. They're an awesome breed. What they do is amazing, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, man. Thankfully, we got those folks that are willing to jump out of planes and go get it done.
Yep. And even the the hot shot crews and the type 2 crews and all that, just the hand crews that are out there. That's a probably one of the most thankless jobs you could have.
I know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, what are they? I mean, a lot of people think, well, what are they actually protecting? You know, most of the time there aren't a lot of structures around or people. So there's a disconnect there, I think, for a lot of people that don't really understand the impact of what they do and how they do it and how long they do it. It's a grueling task.
Man, I'm so thankful for them though, because what they're protecting is what I love, what my family loves. I mean, it's what where we love to be.
Yep.
So man,
there's nothing sadder than walking through an old burn that's not old, but old, it's everything's dead. And then in a couple of years, you start seeing all this green popping up and the renewal. But man,
it's tough for a while.
without them, I can't imagine what the landscape would look like.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
It's crazy.
For sure. For sure. So that kind of leads into, the jobs that, like you say, you go back, you're very interested in doing. That kind of leads into that.
Sure.
And like just flat out dream jobs, I think would be amazing. I will say this though. I'm going to mention one other one before I talk about the ones I just really have learned to respect after being around them. Is being in the entertainment business. I think I counted up my lanyards one time, and I gave them away the first couple months because like some of the guys work security would always ask for mine, and I was always like, yeah, I don't care, here, have it, give it to you. And then all of a sudden I realized one day I was like, I really should keep those.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna want to like frame them or make an album and show all these shows I worked, right? So I gave away like, I don't know, too many. And then I kept them thereafter. And I think I counted up one time and I had well over 100 some shows I did in 5 years. And of course it was all types of events, but we did a lot of great concerts, big stuff, really neat stuff. But I had the opportunity sometimes, whether it be like setting up, the sound systems or whatever, to like just dink around and go up on stage and do a little test one, mic check, and it's pretty cool when you hear yourself in a big old arena.
Over an arena, yeah.
And then there was quite a few times where I remember, and I would be dealing with the tour or production managers, and sometimes those guys would be a little concerned about the size of crowd and the exiting, egress of the crowd, and and people been having a good time and making sure we had lights on as soon as we needed to get lights on, so people were stumbling out of there. So a lot of times they would have me come with them, and I would be behind stage, or stage left, stage right, and just kind of hanging off the edge of the stage in the dark there. But I would literally like be on stage, and I remember this was amazing, dude. I'll never forget this. Journey was there in the amphitheater, and the tour guy was like, I want you with me back behind the stage. And so when it's like on the last couple songs, I'm like, okay. And because we had to fire up a bunch of big tower lights that were outside, generator type lights, and he was really concerned we weren't going to get them on quick enough. So I'm standing there, and for like the last two songs, Scott, I'm literally standing behind the drummer. I can see over his shoulder in his drum set. I felt like I was lit up in the spotlight, but you couldn't see me. But I felt like I was part of the band, man.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like doing the lighter thing, and it was one of the slow ballads. Whoa,
when the lights go down.
Oh yeah. And I mean, of course, I was just sitting there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a star. That's what it felt like. Like all of a sudden, I totally like understood what it must feel like to have a crowd, an ocean of people. And you're sitting there playing and you're performing and entertaining. And I thought to myself, man, if I had some legit skills, hands down, I'd have been doing this,
And how addicting can that be?
Oof.
I can't even imagine. Not to mention that's a grind, but man,
the life is rough, man. The life's rough. Like that's the part I would not be interested in, is just traveling and But I mean, so much is the performing. And the crowd, the electricity, and the atmosphere, and the energy. Oh, that's addicting.
So were you still there when Metallica played they had Volbeat open for them? I think it was 2010.
No. My run was like 98 till 03.
Okay.
So,
one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've gotten to do things similar like that at the Sundance Film Festival because of the places that we've stayed, and they bring in all these guys that for whatever reason, like Richie Sambora, he came in and did a little, not unplugged, but this private little concert for just the people staying at that hotel. So I got to see Richie Sambora, I got to see Modest Yahoo, and I got to see the lead singer for, not Third Eye Blind, I can't think of it. Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh yeah.
And it was literally like same thing, standing off to the side,
Yeah.
6 feet from this guy sitting on a stool singing, you know, I give love a bad name or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah. Well, you know, the one thing I did learn is like some of those artists that were mega stars, some of them were just so down to earth and fun to talk to. And then some of them were definitely prima donnas, like
No
crazy, like
question.
not enjoyable. But
No question.
what a neat way to make a living though, man. Just
Yeah.
being up on stage performing like that. And
I was surprised by Richie Sambora at how much he hated the songs that Bon Jovi played.
oh
He hated playing the songs from the 80s and 90s that the band played. He's like, God, I hate this song. I was just like, that made you who you are. You are who you are because of Living on a Prayer.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. No, it's for sure. But so switching gears, so one of the professions that I really realized how much I respect, and it would be something that if I was to go back, that I would be very drawn to and probably pursue pretty hard, is the medical field. The nurses and all the staff and the people that help you get through things with your family, and then the doctors. I mean, there's definitely, I had probably half a dozen doctors come through the guest ranch, and a few of them I became good friends with. They were repeat customers, and neat guys, but amazing stories they would share, and the things that, you know, they had been a part of and done and helping people. But through my family's journey and all the things we kind of dealt with, you know, oh man, just watching how some of these nurses would care for your child, and the compassion they would have, and then some of the doctors, just how they were amazing at what they did. And I learned to have such great appreciation for people in the medical field, especially like even now. But you know, it was interesting. There was times where we would be dealing with a doctor or someone, and my wife would have to hold me back a little bit because I'm not real good at faking it. I'm not real good at calling somebody out when something's not going right. And sometimes, you know, doctors, really, to be honest with you, some of the really, really good ones, they look at it more as just like, hey, this is another job, this is another project, I'm going to do this, do my best, and they kind of forget it's your kid they're talking about. And you know, I'd be like, oh, I'm about ready to grab you, dude, and you know, grab you by your collar and remind you who we're talking about here. And my wife would be holding me back. She could tell I'd kind of like rising up in my seat a little bit, you know. But no, man, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for them because of what they do, the years, the grind, the study, and what they sacrifice, the position they even put them. I mean, so many of these medical students are coming out of school and their debt's insane. And I just thank the good Lord for these folks that are that dedicated and disciplined to get to that point where they're helping people, because they're amazing. And now with what we got going on, I mean, they're on the front lines in the battlefield right now. And every day they're strapping on, you know, their armor, and they're dealing with an enemy they can't even see. And they're doing their best. And we gotta really remember how amazing they are for what they're doing.
And just think about the commitment of time. If I told you that for the next 10 years, you have to pay me $40,000 a year, at least. And at the end, you might pass the test. To be anything, football player, doctor, whatever. Who would do that? Who would put in 10 years and not make a dime? It's going to cost you. And then know that if you don't make it, you still got to pay me all that money. And if you do make it, you still got to pay me all that money. I can't even imagine putting that kind of commitment into anything, let alone a career path that is rooted in service,
Mm-hmm.
and no real no there's no real fallback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Well, that's one that that I just really am and super respect,
Yep.
super drawn to. Love to talk to people who are in the medical field and listen to some of their stories. And then a few others is that I think are not appreciated near enough. And I tell you, it's kind of scary because it's getting harder and harder and harder for them. Is that the farmers and the ranchers, man?
The what?
Like farmers and the ranchers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that stuff doesn't just show up at the grocery store, just, magically. Like there's people out there working for their entire lives and they're producing and they're managing the land. And those are definitely the careers that I have some mucho mega respect for.
Absolutely. If you're a family farmer, it's I can't even imagine, because you're competing with massive global companies.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I worked with the beef plant, there were big corporate farms or not farms, ranches, and then there were these little mom and pop ranches that have a couple hundred head of cattle, and they're competing with these massive 2,000 head ranches that are just pumping them out. And one little hiccup, a hailstorm for a farmer, and you're toast.
Right.
And,
Toast.
yeah, it's crazy.
You remember you remember listening to, sorry about that. There's a little glitch there we just had.
Yeah.
You remember Paul Harvey. You heard that his farmer deal?
I don't know if I heard it.
You need to jump on Google and listen to that. I can't remember what it's titled, but it's about farmers, and he's narrating through it in a voiceover. It's amazing.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah. What about you, man? What are some others you just got just mutual respect for, and just could see that being something that you'd have been drawn to?
I don't really know. I myself have never committed to a long-term career. I've bounced around my whole life. I've never said, well, this is what I'm going to be.
Right.
And that might
I
be
wish I did that.
I do too. That might be part of the problem, because literally I've had so many different jobs, none of which really fulfilled me.
Mm-hmm.
I would do what we're doing right now, the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do this in a way that helps people with their, and these are things that we'll get into eventually with, business strategies and branding and marketing and things like that. I have that in my background. I love doing that.
Right. Yeah.
That would be that'd be my next choice if it wasn't, I don't know. I don't really know.
So what about just the stuff that you just got much respect for? Because the farmer ranchers and the medicine men are just things that I just really admire for what their grit.
Anybody in the service industry, to me, the waitresses and the servers and the housekeepers in hotels and things like that. That again, thankless jobs.
Right.
It's funny because I just had a friend of mine on Facebook post this tweet that somebody had put out, and it was, the kid was a pizza delivery driver, and they're doing pizza delivery now, where they just drop it off on the doorstep and walk off. And he said, it's funny because it feels like, because we're not face to face interacting with them, it seems easier for everybody to just not tip us, and they don't realize that we make $5 an hour to drive, and they're not tipping because they're not seeing them face to face. Like, thanks for handing me my pizza. And so that whole industry is, even though most people use it as a stepping stone to something else or something better,
little side hustle, whatever.
But the time you spend in that, I've bartended, and that's brutal. Long hours, thankless. You got to deal with people that are upset about things that you really had no responsibility for. If the food sucks, it's not your fault, but you're that person that catches it.
Yeah. One other, and then we'll kind of start wrapping it up. But one other profession that I almost went into because I was so drawn to it, and I thank men and women in law enforcement.
Yeah, for sure.
That has become such an unappreciated career and job, and yet, man, I'm telling you, like, until you go do ride-alongs, until you go through the training, until you're put in the situation. I mean, that's really when you hear the, like, go walk in those shoes.
Yep.
Until you do that, people just don't get it. They don't understand the decisions and the split-second decisions and the positions they're put in, and everything's stacked against them these days with some of the laws and the way people view them. And yet, and there's no doubt there's some bad eggs out there, no doubt that somehow got right. Guys that I'm friends with, super awesome law enforcement guys, they'll say straight up, some guys get through the cracks and somehow they get there. But for the most part, man, most of these men and women are amazing individuals, and what they sacrifice and the luggage and the baggage they take with them and take home. And they're dealing with, and to be honest with you, that was one of the biggest things why I kind of decided maybe I needed to try some other things first before I went ahead and jumped in, because I'm real good at, like, taking work home anyway.
Absolutely.
Like, I take on what's going on. And I had some really special, important people in my life that were like, hey, theyre, I've been there, done that, did it my whole career, and, like, I don't know if that's the right fit for you, bro.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely a special breed. I can't say that I would have been willing to do that, especially because of that what you do bring home. You can't not.
Right.
And so, even though it's not on a daily basis, you're not seeing all these traumatic things. If you do it for any length of time, that stuff's going to accumulate in your brain, and I couldn't do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I tip my hat to
Absolutely.
all the men and women out there
that
are patrolling the neighborhoods, that are dealing with the things they're dealing with, that are just anybody who's putting a gun on for a living to go to work. I'm going to tell you something. They are special people, and we better thank them more and more.
Absolutely.
No, man, I tell you, talking about some of this stuff, it's fun. It's, it's always fun to dream a little bit, but the thing is, you mentioned it. And the neat thing is that now some of the things I've been able to do, some of the things you've been able to do have been some of my dream jobs, because because of the people I got to interact with, the stories I got to hear, the things I got to learn. And now, being able to work like business and marketing, I love that stuff. Branding, I love that stuff, just like you. And we get to talk about some of those things and work with some different folks on those. And building the business that I'm working on now on the real estate. I mean, it's a challenge, and it's something I'm enjoying because of the branding and the marketing of it, and connecting with people. And that's cool, man. And that's what motivates me and pushes me to keep striving and keep doing that. But no, and it's fun to talk about, and that's something that I think we can both be very thankful for, is we have those avenues.
Yep. Well, I'm dreaming of the future now. I'm dreaming of where this is going to go and what we're going to do with this, and the people we're going to impact and help, and I'm super stoked.
So hey y'all, we hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy your families. Focus on the things you can do instead of the things you can't. Remember, so much of life is attitude and effort. And be excellent in all of those things. Give your best to your friends, your family, and your business. So Appreciate y'all and have a good one.
Absolutely. Keep stepping. And like always, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn, we're on Spotify, should be on iTunes soon. So give us a like or a subscribe and share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All right.
Peace.